Hi and welcome back to MDriven. There's a new function in the MDrivenServer to help you find inconsistencies between the model and the database. So what do I mean? Whenever you change a type on an attribute, let's say that this really should be a datetime, and you try to evolve that, you now get a clear warning that this used to be an string type in the database, but now it should be a datetime, and it also says that this change will not be evolved. So this is up because we can't do this because we don't really know how you want to transfer the data. Of course, the simple way to solve this is to create the attribute under another name. Then it will be dropped, and a new attribute will be added. But these might be tricky because the next time you upload a model, maybe you do something else, and you upload the model again. You really have no information that your database now is in one state and your model is in another state. So that was an issue that could be a potential problem. So what we did was to introduce a check column consistency field. And let's see. Yes, so this returns this error that attribute 5 is type string in the DB but datetime in the model. So that lets us know that thing. And we also have this error because that was another check that I had left and not cleaned up. Field too short in DB. So there's a couple of things that we check in this new column field consistency check. So one of them is also the length. So let's see. I think I changed the attribute 3 to length 256 instead of the default 255. I'm gonna upload that again. As I do that, I will get a notification that attribute 3 has changed from 256 to 255. This change will not be evolved, but that will match what I had originally in the database. So if I do a field consistency check, I only have this error with the attribute 5 changing from string to a datetime. And of course I could fix that in the database with database tools. I'm not going to show you that today, but let's just rename this to create it to recreate it. Upload that. And then it says that it's gonna attribute 5 will be lost, and it's changing the type as well. And then we don't have any issues with consistency, column field consistency check. So what do we check in this new thing? It's the type, that the type in the model adheres to the type in the database. It's the nullability, check that if it is null in the database but not null in the model. We will warn about that. Check not null in the database but allow null in the model. And also this string length, shorter in DB than in model. So we actually don't check if it's longer in the DB because that's usually not an issue and it's harder for us to do. So if I were to change this, yeah, maybe this one to be 500 carries instead, and uploading that model. It will both say that yeah, in the database it's actually also type changed. So from 255 to 500, this change will not be evolved. That means that I should be able to find it at least here. Which I yeah, so why don't I find it? Because the class 2 doesn't have any data, so that's also a prerequisite, at least for some databases, that there must be some data in the database in order for these checks to actually execute correctly. So if I go into this one and create a new and just save that, so now there's actual data in the database for class 2, and then the field consistency check will, because what it tries to do is an update, and then it rolls back this update, and it takes all the string fields and tries to put in strings of the length design in the model, and if that fails it reports that. So this is all for you to find errors ahead of runtime, so that you can check that your database schema is coherent to the model that you've created, even though you have ignored a lot of warnings doing the evolve. So this takes off the load of fixing the warnings straight ahead. Of course, that could be hard to do because you develop against a dev database or a test database, and then you go into production. So this is a way for you to scoop things up that you have left behind. Okay, good. Thank you.